Welcome to All Access Aurora Borealis.
We're counting down to the end of the season, so to speak. Well, that's us here at SportsTownChicago.com. However, Aurora Borealis, they have come to the end of their season, at least as far as the PLA goes, the Premier League of America. They closed out the season last night, belatedly, and we will get to the score there in a while. We might not be too excited to get there too quickly. But let me introduce to you our guest this afternoon. He is a forward. He was listed as a defensive midfielder, but he has objected to that. He's a forward. He likes to run forward. He likes to run at the defense. He likes to score goals, and he just likes to give problems up front. Am I right?
Yeah, I like to try to anyways.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Colby Newquist on set this afternoon. And like we said, he's a forward with Aurora Borealis, and he has a number of goals on the season so far. We'll get to that. Colby, let's get to last night's game.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you weren't there, but not necessarily the way the club would have wanted to close out the season, but, you know, it's pretty much indicative of the way the season has gone, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say so.
All right. And now we can tell you, Aurora lost the game 6-0 to RWB Adria, and that's the way they closed out the season. And like I said, it's pretty much been the story of the season. Not necessarily 6-0 results, but losses. Things have not gone exactly the way that the club would have liked it. And you know, if you play dominoes, you probably would know the significance of a 6-0 scoreline. It's not necessarily a good one.
No, it's not.
Neither is it in soccer, right?
No, yeah, definitely not good in soccer.
Yeah. But Colby, I know you weren't there, but when you speak to your teammates and you hear of a scoreline like this, I mean, does it make your heart sink, or you know, what's like your first reaction?
Yeah, you just wonder what happened, and wish I was able to maybe could have helped out, but I mean at 6-0, it's it's hard to say. If I could have made any difference, if anyone could have, it sounded like it was pretty much one-way traffic.
All right. But also we must say that Aurora, they did protest that game because as we understand it, and we won't go too deep into it, there was a protest from the club management because apparently RWB Adria fielded a team that was totally different from the team that they had, the team list that they had given for last Saturday, because remember the game was to have been played on Saturday.
Yep.
And because of a lightning storm, it was pushed back to last night. And apparently what happened, based on what we're being told, is that they fielded a totally different team, which is against the rules. So a protest has been lodged to the management of the PLA, and we wait to see how that one will pan out. But Colby, talk to us. First season with Aurora, just give us an overview of what it has been like for you, even the results aside.
I mean, outside of the results, it's been a fantastic experience. I mean, the whole staff, from CJ up to Tim and everyone on the team, it's been a fantastic experience, I think, for everyone. And as far as the results go, I know we aren't high up the standings, but if you watch the games, we were in a lot of the games. It was just we missed a chance here or there, and then a defensive miscue, that really cost us the game. But it wasn't like we went out and we were beat 6-0 every single game, where we defended for our lives and barely lost 1-0. A lot of the games, we were in control of. Had the game, had the chances to win it, and it just didn't happen. But I think that it's the case for most first-year programs. I think some of the guys forget that we're playing teams who have been around for, I think Audrey's been around for over 10,
Forever,
15, 20
yeah.
years. Yeah, you got Carpathia's been around for, ages. So, those little things, they make a difference. So in a couple of years, I think it might be a slightly different story for the club.
Right. And in this, the first season for the club, they ended the 10 games played on the season. In the competitive season, they would have won 2, drawn 1, and they ended with 7 points. However, Colby, as bad as that sounds, you're not the worst team in the division.
No, we aren't. We aren't the worst team in the division.
They're actually second to last. Now, the win last night for Adria put them atop the standings with Toledo United. They're basically tied on 22 points each, but based on the goal differential, Adria would have won the division, and of course they go through to the playoffs. But you mentioned, Colby, about being coached by CJ Brown. How has that been? I mean, have you learned a lot? What do you think he brings to the team?
It's tremendous, the amount you've learned. I can speak for me personally. I've played a lot of different places, had a lot of different coaches, some of the top coaches in the country, and then to have CJ come in, it's even far beyond what I've had before. Obviously, there's a technical side and a tactical side, but there's a lot of mental side to the game. A lot of things that we do, they're complex drills, and it's because he wants you to think about the game, not just react to it. He wants you to know what you're doing, why you're doing it. So to get that side of it and to be coached that thoroughly through it, it's unlike anything. And I think it's a great stepping stone for the club going forward, even if CJ isn't with us moving on.
All right. And let's speak about a little bit to your history now. I mean, I'd like to call you one of the elder statesmen on the team. Yeah. I mean, at age 27, the average age of the team probably would range in about the 21, 22, 23, thereabout.
Yeah.
And you're 27 years old. Do you see yourself as a leader? Has CJ put you out there to be a leader of this team pretty much?
Yeah, and that was the expectation, at the start of the season. And I've tried to fill that role, along with a couple of other guys in the team. But I don't feel 27. But it's been trying. I've tried to lend what I know, pass it down to the guys. In the games that we lose and the tough situations, that the best you can do is take the positives out and move forward.
Okay. All right. In terms of, basically a brand new team, which means then it would be a brand new bunch of players. Chemistry building, the gelling of the team.
Yeah. In
your mind, how has that gone?
It's gotten better, and you can see it in glimpses that we really connect offensively. But you could still see defensively. We did miss quite a few chances offensively too. That the connections just weren't fully there. But that'll come, as we play together. I know, like I said, some of these teams, they play together all year round. That makes a massive difference rather than just throwing 11 guys on the field, and trying to figure it out. So playing styles, it took a bit of time during the season. Off the field, though, everyone has a great relationship. There's no issue as everyone gets along, and it's a great training atmosphere and a great atmosphere to be around.
Okay. So in terms of the technical aspects of the, well, let me ask you this first. Mm-hmm. Do you believe that a 10-game season would have been long enough for a first-year team like yourself?
No, I think you need more games than that. I think that it showed as well. Like I said, we were in most of these games. We were just right there. But we just needed that little extra, chemistry together, to know who's going to be, just knowing where the next person's going to be. Those are things that you can't get over 10 games.
Right.
You need 15, 20 games to really figure those things out. And like I said, you could start to see it in some of the games.
Right. And in terms of talent, speak to us. What do you think of the talent pool that is at the club?
There's a tremendous amount of talent. A lot of the similar players, I think, Ponce, he was a great player in the midfield for us. I think, he didn't get the credit all the time that he deserved, but he did, read the game well. Obviously, George Alvarez, he was a fantastic player. And then we got Uncle at the end of the season. I think he made a big difference. Like I said, we have a lot of similar players, small, crafty players, good with the ball. And he was a slightly different presence on the field. A bigger guy, could hold the ball up, could link play up. And I think for a little bit, that's what we were missing. I think maybe had we had him at the start, things might have been slightly different offensively anyways.
Okay. All right. So we did put together some goals on the season. And Colby, as a forward, might just have something inside there. But let's now go to a clip of some goals scored by Aurora on the season. And this one is Akim Saraji making a pass there to, I think that was Alvarez, it was. And that one was easily buried. And here we see him again. Very skillful player, Colby.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Indeed, and we have another look at this one from a different angle, and bam, that was a goal, and that was a big win that day for the team. And that now is Patrick Ruda, who is actually a central defender, who comes up every now and again. And here comes this one right now, and I think this one might be of interest to the forward sitting right next to my left here. Would it be? Talk to me, Colby. Let me see if you have anything to do with this goal right here now. Ball comes across. And Was that you?
That was me, yeah. A rare header. I'm not even sure if it hit my head. It might have hit my shoulder on the way through.
Yeah. Well, describe for the viewers the feeling when you get the ball in the back of the net, especially for a team that has been struggling for the wins.
It's a great feeling. I think that was an early goal too. It's something we've been struggling with. Like I said, we created tons of chances throughout the season, but to actually, to score, and I think that was the first goal of the game, and clearly it motivated us to go on. I think we hit 7 in that game, maybe. Yeah,
and I tell you what was better for that goal. That was the first goal scored at home off a corner, off like about, I think there must have been like 15 corners, and that was the first one that was converted into a goal. I think at one point I counted 23 corners, and only one of them resulted in a goal. And then there was this free kick that went in that gave you the lead against, I think that was Toledo, and for some reason, we all thought that you'd have won that game.
Yeah, I think we were all feeling that same way. That was one of the tougher games to take. We should have won that game.
Yeah, but then that is something else that you also have to learn, right?
Yep.
Game management, because that pretty much was lacking. Because in that game, you took the lead. I think that was 72 minutes.
Yep.
3 minutes later, it was level.
Yeah.
7 minutes later, you were losing the game.
Yep. And that's it's experience too. Yeah. Just to know how to kill the game off and not give up. I think the first goal was from a free kick, not to give up petty free kicks like that, but it happens.
And then on the defensive end, you've not defended well on the set pieces either, because those 2 goals actually came from set pieces.
Yeah, that's been frustrating for the team. But, defensively, it's always much harder. I can miss 4 or 5 chances and I score 1 and I'm the hero. Defensively, you make 1 mistake and it costs. And it's a hard job. There's a lot of cohesion, and I think that's part of the gel that wasn't quite there yet.
Right. But let's look forward now to next season. I mean, this season is over. Going forward now, what do you think needs to be done now for this team? Do you think this team does have a bright future in together?
Yeah, I think so. I think the biggest thing is us staying together and us playing together. Even if it's 5 or 6 guys, hopping in leagues together, doing indoor leagues, small tournaments, things that we can find. That'll be the biggest thing. Like I said, the talent's there. That's just keeping together, keep playing. And outside of that, maybe 1 or 2 more additions here or there to just give a bit of depth maybe. But outside of that, like I said, everything's there. The pieces are in place. We've learned a lot this season. You learn more from losing than winning, I think. And we just got to take that going forward.
All right. And tell me now, what has, in your opinion, has the club itself, the presence of the club in the area, done for the area?
I think it gives, people who love soccer and want to keep playing, it kind of gives them something to kind of strive for and keep going. And, it may not be your goal of playing in the World Cup, but you can still fulfill a dream, because how many people get to be in this situation, to play semi-pro soccer. And I think that'd be a driving force in the club and, bring the community slightly together. And you don't have to go to Bridgeview to watch professional soccer, it's right in your backyard.
Right. And you were telling me before the start of the program about some of your experiences, having been with the team, the traveling, just being a part of the group. Just tell us some more about that. Give us some of the funny stories. Come on, give us any one of them. Put you on the spot here.
Yeah, I got to think about it. I mean, the bus rides are always were always a treat. You got a lot of characters. Akeem's obviously one of the characters on the team, and but I think for me personally, one of them was just the last game coming home. We got to sit down. There was most of the guys on the team, 5 or 6 of us, and we're sitting with CJ, and he's played professional 13 years, and he's telling us all these stories. He played against Ronaldo from Brazil when he was 19 and didn't know it, and he played against my idol Thierry Henry, and just hearing these stories and like what training's like and what he went through and stuff like that to get to where he was, that was an awesome experience.
Right. And you said your idol Thierry Henry. Does that mean you're a gunner?
Yeah, I am a gunner. Yeah, through and through. Yeah, it's a rough life.
Wow. Why would you do that to yourself? I mean, why not just switch to the Red Devils? Why not just go Manchester United? You need a winning team.
I'm a loyal guy. When I first started liking Arsenal,
you like sexy football. That's it. Yeah, you like the sexist thing. You're not winning anything.
No, trust me, we should have won last year.
Yeah.
Leicester City, you gotta congratulate them.
Yeah.
What a
story. And of course, their captain is a friend of mine, captain of the Reggae Boys team. I mean, how does he do it? 32 games and more every single game?
Yeah, odds at 5,000 to 1. That was I heard that was the same odds as Bigfoot being proven real. You know, so it's sports. You know, it's one of the great things, especially soccer too. You know, people wonder why it's the most popular sport in the world, and that's why.
Right. It was indeed a great story, that Leicester City story, and we have another great story building here at Aurora Borealis. And that's basically it for the show for today. I want to say thanks to you for watching. Thanks to Colby for coming in. Remember, we have one more show to go. The season is done for the club, but we have one show to go. So please stick around for that. Next Thursday, same time, same place, 2:15, right here on SportsTownChicago.com. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Courtney Wallace, bidding you good afternoon.